have I always wanted to be a father? And the answer is yes. I thought I had a pretty good father, and I wanted to outdo him.
I guess I wouldn't say that I've always wanted to be, but probably around 16, 17, I really started thinking about wanting to be one around that time as I started to get a little bit older. And I definitely wanted to be what I would say a great father, the father that I kind of, always idolized and dreamed of being.
And so, yes, I always wanted to be a father. What I enjoy the most about the father, what is it I don't like about being a father, is the part about being underappreciated or taken for granted. Don't like that part. But the part I appreciate the most is hearing the words dad or daddy. I enjoy that the most. But more than that, I love hearing that I love you, daddy. Those are what I love the most about being a dad.
I really enjoy, just the everyday interactions, getting to watch my son learn new things, teaching him new things. I don't enjoy the back talk, that's for sure. But I mean, it's great getting to see, my son's 2 years old now, so getting to see him speak, learn new words, then sentences, now whole paragraphs. But, obviously I've got to train him not to use those words the wrong way.
Yes, I've always wanted to be a father. Let's start again. Okay, so you guys have to hear all this, right? No, you don't have to go. Be right here. Yes, I've always wanted to be a father. And what do I enjoy the most about being a father is just the ability to bring new life and new people into the world that will be godly, that will represent God. What I enjoy the most about being a father is being able to raise these kids up to become men of integrity. Because, I have 4 boys, and I really enjoy spending time with them, being able to be there for them, to guide them, to be able to protect and provide for them. I enjoy being able to give them gifts. And that brings me so much joy. Just being able to give them gifts. Talking about their toys, games, bicycles, just being able to give them gifts and seeing the happiness and the joy that brings them. That makes me so happy and joyful, you see. And another reason I enjoy being a father is I never had a dad who was with me. And so I enjoy being able to be there for them and to be with them and to have them in my life. That brings me so much joy. It's as though being able to give them what I never had makes me happy.
Have I always wanted to be a father? I think the honest answer, I don't even think, the honest answer is no. When I was growing up, I didn't have really much of a relationship with my father. And I didn't have much of...
Are you sure?
Okay, so let's ask that. I'll answer that question again. Are you coming up?
Here, you can sit with Dad.
Are you going to sit up here?
You can be the listener.
Okay.
No. This is sleep.
Do you want a snack?
No. This is sleep.
Okay, stay right there.
Okay.
Okay, he's not going to stay. All right, let's answer that again. Did I always want to be a father? Honestly, early on in my life, the answer was no. I didn't have a relationship with my father or stepfather growing up. And in fact, the lack of relationship left a really bad taste in my mouth. And so I didn't have any desires or dreams or anything that would lead me to want to be a father. Now that I am a father, I think the thing that I love the most is just getting to hang out with my sons. I think besides being present at the birth of my two sons, I would have to say one of the most meaningful, moments. I'll just share with one of the most meaningful moments with Jackson was we had driven out to Maryland from Colorado. We lived there for I'd lived there my whole life, and we moved out here when Jackson was 2. And so right before his second birthday, we show up and we move out, and we go to a local restaurant for dinner, and we're just sitting there. And I think we got a picture of it, but it was just one of those moments where I realized that we had made a move for our family. We had moved out here for our family, and I saw in that moment, I know this might sound cheesy, but I saw our future, because what I saw in Jackson was he was going to get chances out here with schools and diversity and interaction with people he would have never interacted with in Colorado. So he was going to become just a better person. And that moment for me really was a catalyst for just some other changes that we began to make. I think with my son Aaron, once again, besides his birth, I think the first time, and with Jackson too, the first time you hear the word dad, it's always like, oh my gosh, But I think with Aaron, because that wasn't something that he would say naturally, it was just not something that came. And so when it came, it was pretty special.
So I've only been a father for about 2.5 years now, but the single most memorable moment has got to be the day he was born. And we were obviously, and he was born in the hospital, Howard County General Hospital, and just the first second I laid eyes on him, I'll never forget, watching him be born live, like just that miracle. That's something I'll just never forget. Holding him as small as he was, and just being able to watch him take his first breath and cry for the first time. I don't know. I felt it was like a outer body experience. Just getting to see I created God, and I always say, me plus my wife plus God created this being, and I'll never forget that. It was an incredible time.
The single most memorable father moment, I would say moments, because for each of them I had that moment, which is the moment where they came into this world for the very first time in the delivery ward. I could remember when my first son was born, and that was, to become a new father, that was just an awesome, an indescribable moment. And following after that, with the birth of each of my sons, being there in the delivery room, being there to hear their first cry or scream, being able to hold them to me and cuddle them, just seeing those cute faces, that moment just always blows my mind. And over again, 4 times I've had this moment.
The single most memorable moments of being a father is the birth of my 3 children. I have 3 adult children now, 1 daughter and 2 sons. I remember after each of them were born that I was so grateful to finally be a dad, but also wondering in the back of my mind, like, man, I gotta stop making so many mistakes being a dad. And what was memorable was that each time I was like, man, I really gotta pick my game up. I have to be a better example. I need to show more patience, and it just made me more determined that the good job that my dad did, that I need to be more focused if I was going to do an even better job than him. Yeah, one of the things I'm most thankful for as a father is that the trust that my kids have in me. They trust that I have their best interests. And in addition to that, I'm most thankful that they have their health and that they have most of the time a good sound mind. As an elder and prayer warrior in my church, I pray for a lot of sick people. And whenever I go to the hospital and I see kids who have never run, some who won't see, little babies that have like terminal cancer and stuff like that, I always leave being appreciative that all of my kids, like I said, came into the world with good health and a sound mind, and they still have it. So I am most thankful for that. What I'm most proud of is that what I poured in them comes out of them. So when the storms come, they don't always know what to do or how to react right away, but ultimately they make the right decisions, and we have these conversations later on. It gets back to the lessons that they were taught when they were younger. So yeah, I am really happy that what was poured in them is what has come out of them.
As a father, I'm most thankful for the opportunities. I mean, to be his dad. I mean, I feel like. I feel like. Hold on, Jaden. What do you say? You don't want what? A treat?
A treat?
I mean, every day is different with this one. You know, it's no 2 days are the same. I really enjoy getting to kind of get in his mind and see what he's thinking and hear what he's thinking. Yeah, I'm really thankful that I have my wife around to help me because I go to work during the daytime, and she'll send me videos of these new little things that he's doing. Like the first time that he took steps on his own, I got a video while I was at work, and I would have missed that. Like I would have got to see it when I came home, but it's not the same as like the first time. So I really appreciate her for things like that. You're gonna get a treat when we're done, but not yet, okay? Not yet. Yeah. And things like this, just getting to see him learn, getting to see him kind of think about what I'm saying and think about what we're doing. 2 years ago, I mean, couldn't have even imagined that he could comprehend what I'm saying, but now he's definitely gets it. That's pretty cool. Are you okay? You got your foot down?
I think I'm most thankful for really the ability to work from home. Not having a relationship with my father and stepfather growing up, we made intentional choices for me to be an integral part of the everyday life of my sons. And we have a bond and a love for one another and a respect for one another. And even my 2-year-old, there's just a special time. Like if I'm not there during the day, he'll look for me. And I think with Jackson, it's just been like we've just been together pretty much from day one. And so that's something that for me, I'm most proud of because I'm super proud of my boys for no specific reason other than they're my boys. What am I really proud of? I think for Jackson, one of the things I'm really proud of is his resilience. I think every kid tends to get down. Like if they lose, no one likes to lose. But Jackson bounces back really quickly. And he comes back for more and he asks questions and he wants to get better. And so that's what I'm really proud of in Jackson is his resilience.
So yeah, as a father, what am I most thankful for and what am I most proud of? I'm most thankful that God would give me these 4 boys as my sons. As the Bible says, children are the heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. And so I'm really thankful that God would reward me with sons, because I view them as God's reward, and having God reward you is a big deal. And what am I most proud of is that by the grace of God, I'm raising them in the fear of the Lord. I'm most proud of that fact that the 2 oldest have already given their lives to Jesus Christ, and Micah here, who is coming up to 5 years, will soon be doing the same by the grace of God. I never forced them. I simply shared the gospel with them, and they received Christ into their lives. And I'm most proud of the fact that I'm raising them up in the fear of the Lord. As the Bible says, train up the child the way he should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. And that gift of me being able to train them up in the fear of the Lord, I'm proud of that. And I'm also proud that I'm raising them to have a long life, and that it will be good, it will be well with them, because in the book of Ephesians, the Bible says that children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long. And so as I'm imparting unto them the fear of the Lord, I know that they are going to grow up honoring their father, honoring their parents, and honoring all who are older than them. And I know it's going to be well with them because of the God factor in their life. Yeah, what traditions did my father or family? So I never really got to spend time with my dad, because he left when I was about 5 years. So he didn't really pass on any traditions to me. But as I grew up with my grandparents, living in the family house, and living amongst many siblings, uncles, aunties, cousins, some of the traditions that I most cherish are, the traditions of celebrating some of the major Christian festivities like Easter and Christmas. Those were fun, because honestly, we never got to enjoy, celebratory food or festive foods, and except on these occasions. I mean, in Easter, we would get to enjoy goat meat. We would get to enjoy chicken, in much larger quantities than over the whole year. We get to enjoy some soft drinks, and so those were traditions. Easter was a big deal. Christmas was a big deal. New Year was an awesome deal. And these traditions of celebrating the Christmas festivities, I would say those are some of the things that I picked up from my family growing up.
So growing up, we always had Saturdays as family days, and that's a tradition that did stand out for me. And we really, take that wholeheartedly in this family. Every Saturday, we either have something planned where we go out and do an activity, like going to the farm or going out to play together, or sometimes it's just literally a boring old family day inside the house where we get to hang out with each other. And I think that's one of the ones that was very, very important to us. That we still try to keep up with, every single weekend.
What traditions did my father or my family pass on to me? There weren't really a lot, honestly, that got passed on. And I think what I've come to realize is that's been really a positive, because I've been a blank slate. So I've been able to create traditions with my sons, without thinking about what it meant towards the past, but only about creating a future.
The traditions that my family and father passed on to me, the one that I could think of more than anything else is, in everything you do, make sure that it's Christ-centered. Always make room for worship once a day. Once Christ is in the center of your life, make sure that your family is second. And so we were always taught to put family second. to the degree that everyone in my family, whether it be brothers, sisters, or cousins, we were taught that family is always welcome, to the degree that we were conditioned that if you're going to visit family, you don't even have to call ahead, because if you got to call ahead, that's not family. And so I love that that tradition was passed down by my father, my family, to keep Christ in the center of everything you do, and remember that your family is second, because between Christ and your family, that's all you got. I'd like for my children to remember me in much the same way I remember my dad. And that is all those wise sayings that he said to you, you know, that you don't even remember, that you remembered them or you learned the lessons. And so what how I'd like for them to remember me is for the same thing, to keep Christ in the center of your life and remember that family is second. And so keep those things at the front of your mind. And so what my family passed on to me, I like for it to be remembered for the same thing, just up to the second degree. That's what I'd like to be remembered for.
I'd like my children to remember me as a hardworking dad that was always around, always cared about his family, always cared about others. I want them to remember me for the legacy that I plan to leave behind. But I definitely want them to feel like I was somebody that they could depend on and they could count on. I mean, he's only 2 years old now, but we're already signing him up for soccer. And I want him, once he's, playing sports, I want him to remember, hey, Dad was always at the games. When he's in school, I want him to remember Dad was always at the parent-teacher conferences. And I really want to be remembered as a guy that was there, like someone that showed, his actions showed how he felt. That's what I'd like to be remembered as.
It's not your question, so let me answer my question. How would I like my children to remember me? First off, I would love and like for them to remember me as a dad who loved them absolutely, and would give up anything in this world, including my life, for them. I would love them to remember me as a God-fearing man who taught them the fear of the Lord, which is, I believe, the single most important factor for success, true success in life. And I'd love them to remember me as a fun person, one that they could share their experiences with. You are making faces behind me.
I'm smiling.
I caught your face. That was bad. You are doing this. Oh, I saw you.
Dad, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
I think the legacy that I want to live into and leave is that my sons knew and know that they're loved no matter what, that they're seen, they're heard, they're valued, and I want them to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I would do whatever in my power, and probably outside of my power, to move heaven and earth for my sons. And I want them to know that that's the legacy that I want to live for others as well, that I want to be known as a person who saw other people and loved them. I think the legacy that I want to pass on towards my children and my grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, and so the legacy that I want to pass on for the next 100, 200, 300 years is one generational wealth. I want to make sure that my children and my children's children's children are covered and taken care of. But I think generational wealth isn't just about money. So I want them to know that they're valued in and of themselves. So the legacy that I want my children to live and love and live into is that they're enough, that they don't need anything else, that they are enough. That's the legacy that I want to live and leave.
My legacy I'd like to leave behind is, I believe I'm supposed to leave an inheritance not only for my son, but for my grandkids, my great-grandkids. I want his children to know who I was because of what I left for them. So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I do want to leave behind a business successful enough that my son can run it and his sons can run it, and something that they never have to worry about money. But besides the financial piece, I want that legacy to be all about family. Because even in the business that we run, our motto is with us, your family, and I want them to be able to know, family days are important. All the times we spend together are important. Hey, don't touch that, okay? Don't touch that. And I want them to be able to look back at their grandfather and say, I'm proud of him. That's really what I want. And for him to look at his dad and say, I'm proud of what he built. All right, you can get down. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, what legacy would I want to pass on to my children? I believe that the most vital legacy, or the most important one on my list, is the fear of the Lord. That they would also be able to live in the fear of the Lord. Like Solomon said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And so that's the legacy that I want to pass on to them. And number two, I would love to be able to pass on to them some wealth in form of investments, business. I would love to be able to pass on to them some material wealth as well, because I never had that. And I look at my friends and colleagues that I grew up with, and some of them were way ahead of us in life because they received inheritance, And so I would love to be able to pass down to them some material wealth, in addition to the spiritual wealth of knowing God and fearing God.
The legacy that I'd like to pass on. I think the legacy I'd like to pass on would be two things. Faith. Always have faith. And two, prayer. I'd like to think I've taught my kids that whatever you do, that your first reflex, that your first instinct should always be to pray. So whether you're depressed or down or lonely or happy, in all things, pray always, but always be grateful and thankful for where you are. So in that, again, that's my legacy. Faith, keep the faith, and always to be open to intercede, not just on behalf of you and your family, but for your friends and for your community. Be a prayer warrior.
You want to try to answer that question?
Yes.
About what are you proud of? Just act like you were talking to me.
That he actually spends time with me.
What does that mean to you?
That we actually get to play games.
Yeah. It's pretty fun, isn't it? Do you remember that time we went to The Greatest Showman movie in the theater?
Mm-hmm.
And you started singing the song? Yeah, and the people in front of us clapped for you?
No, not British Showman in Hamilton.
No, it was Greatest Showman. In the theater, remember, in the theater?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the people in front of us clapped for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that too. I like doing stuff like that with you. Anything else? That's enough. Thanks, buddy. So if I could give advice to any father or fathers, I think the best piece of advice that I ever received, and the one that I would pass on, is you don't get moments back. You can replace a car or a camera, a soccer ball, a bike, but you can't replace experience. You can't replace moments. And so my advice would be, take advantage of the moments and build your life with your sons and your daughters. Don't make them separate from it. That was one of the things that Emily and I decided. Our sons were going to be part of our life. And by the time Jackson was 6 months old, he had been in 14 states and traveled on 7, 8 airplanes. So we just didn't stop our life. So take advantage of the moments.
My Father's Day message for the people. I like to think of fathers as the king of a household. And I just got through doing a devotion about Esther and about why was Esther, a peasant girl, chosen to be queen of Persia over everyone else. And it came down to she understood the protocol of a king, whereas everyone else was concerned about the trappings of the king. She just wanted the king. She didn't want the blessings in the hand of the king. She just wanted the king. And so my message to the father is that when wives and daughters and sons learn the protocol of a king, like what does the king want? He just wants the same thing our Father in heaven wants. He wants adoration and praise and worship. And if you can get to where you can give some of that to your earthly dad, you'll be surprised how many blessings will come back to you. So remember Dad this year and just tell him, Dad, keep the blessings in your hand, but I just want to let you know that I appreciate you, that I love you, and I want to, every once in a while, just spend some time in your presence. So do that, and I promise you that'll be the best Father's Day gift you can give your dad. Now, I wanted to tell a quick story. I didn't have time to think about it, but I wanted to share a quick parable about Father's Day, about how to get what you want. I think I can do that in 2 or 3 minutes. It was a parable about how to give your father what he needs, and benefit would be often you'll get something that you want. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Quick parable about how to get what you want from your dad and how to make him feel good. It was a quick story about a friend of mine, indirectly, had 3 daughters who weren't teenagers. And one day, one of the daughters came to him to ask for something. And he said no. So she went to her mother. And she said, if your dad said no, the answer is no. But let me tell you how to get what you want from your dad. So she sat her down and she said, never approach your dad telling him what you want. But tell him, sit in his lap, put your arm around him, tell him how much you love him. Tell him he's the best dad in the world. And when he asks what do you want, just say, I don't want anything, Dad. I just want more of you. And just kiss him on his cheek. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Hug, hug, hug. I love you, Daddy. You're the bestest daddy in the whole wide world. So while the mother is giving the daughter this lesson, the dad is sitting there saying, wait a minute. I'm sitting right here, you all. I knew these lessons went on, but could you at least show me the decency of not doing this in my presence? So when the lesson was over, he thought the daughter would wait like 2 or 3 weeks. Well, she didn't. She came right, jumped in his lap, and began to put her arm around him and kiss him. He's like, look, I know what you're doing. By the way, back to what the mother said. The mother said, as soon as you see a smile come on your dad's face, then you can ask him for what you want. So I skipped that part out. So she dumps in his lap, began to kiss him, hug him. He says, look, I know what you're up to. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So she kept kissing him and kept hugging him, kept telling him that she loved him. And so while she was doing all this, he had this battle going on inside. And he was like, whatever you do, don't smile, don't smile, don't smile. And he said, but then his lips gave him away like the traitor that they were. And he smiled. And as soon as he smiled, his daughter asked the same question that she asked 15 minutes earlier. And he opened his mouth to say, I said no, and I meant no, but yes came out of his mouth anyway. Anyway, that's the lesson and the protocol of how we should approach not just our fathers here on earth, but also our dad in heaven. Anyway, just thought I'd share that to you for Father's Day.